And members, before we launch into some happy presentations, special presentations, and our work, without objection, I would like the ability to take just a moment for all of us to reflect on the events of the past days, because I think that is appropriate. And members can share their thoughts either at the beginning of the meeting here or at the end of the meeting. But I did not want to just proceed with business as usual without taking a moment and maybe ending the moment with a moment of silence in memory of all of the victims of last weekend's terrible tragedy. Let me just say my piece up front, and then I'll leave it to all of you either now or again at the end of the meeting to share any of your thoughts. And I know Councilmember Valenzuela has requested to formally adjourn in memory of the victims. And of course, I will afford her that opportunity at the end of the meeting. You know, I have a sign in my office that I'm sure many of you have in yours. You see it on T-shirts and on billboards, and it says, "Every day is your chance to make this city a little better." I love that. It speaks to Sacramento. Our community is going through a major trauma. There has been a terrible loss of life and many injured. We hurt deeply for the victims, for their friends and their families, and we will not forget them, both the lost and those who survive. We are also a very resilient city. This unacceptable tragedy does not define us. It does not speak to who we are and what we will continue to aspire to be. This is a diverse, engaged, dynamic, and inclusive city. And our strengths have shone brightly over these last difficult days. Sacramento always rises to the occasion. This is not our first crisis. And I'm sure, unfortunately, it may not be our last. I want to thank profusely all of those who have been engaged in trying to help victims' families, and help our community, starting with my colleagues here on the City Council. All of you who have shown up in all the different spaces that your constituents, our constituents, have needed you to be in. They draw great strength from your leadership. I want to thank the city manager and his entire team for once again responding to crisis in all of the right ways. Our police chief, Kathy Lester, oh my God, only been on the job a couple of weeks, and look what she's confronting, and she's doing so with grace, with strength, and with great skill. To all of the first responders, including our fire department, who were on the scene without hesitation, the 100 or more people who have helped with this investigation by submitting videos, and of course, our community, the advocates, the activists, but also people without titles or without formal roles who have been helping others in this great time of need. These murders have raised many questions, not just for Sacramento, but for the state and the country. And over the days and weeks ahead, I hope that we will not only address those questions, but we will respond in positive and proactive ways to all the lessons learned. And of course, it's gun violence, it's public safety, it's early intervention for youth, it's mental health, it's the importance of our city center, and so much more. But we do not have to wring our hands. We will never be complacent. And I would suggest that rather than an exhaustive study or too much analysis, let us use this moment to enhance and elevate what we are already doing. I know last year our police department confiscated over 1,600 guns from the streets. I know last year and the year before, this city council invested tens of millions of dollars in youth, both primary intervention and also direct intervention in gang and other activities to prevent violence. All the investments we have made in the community, with the community, and for the community allows us, I think, to rightfully say the following. We cannot know, and we will not know, how many tragedies and deaths we have prevented by the investments and the choices we have made. We cannot absolutely prevent every act of violence or unspeakable tragedy. But if we use this unacceptable tragedy to look inside and to do better and to elevate and advance what we are already doing, we have the opportunity not only to prevent more tragedies, but to help many people find more positive paths to better lives. I just wanted to say this at the beginning of the meeting. I know we've all talked a lot. I know I've talked a lot over these last several days, but this is the beginning of our first city council meeting. And I thought it was appropriate and necessary to start off both to acknowledge the trauma and the pain that our community is going through, especially the victims, but also to continue to provide some hope and a path forward for all of us. Thank you.